further delay, let's just do the prayers and keep going. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. Is my screen visible?
Yes, Prabhu.
And I'm audible? Yes, of course. So, very warm welcome to all of you for this very exciting, wonderful journey that we are going to embark. It's called Journey to Janmashtami, or it is basically Journey to Krishna. How can we have Krishna in our heart? That's what this journey is aimed at. So as some of you would be knowing that the Bhagavatam verse in the beginning, the second verse of Bhagavatam, it says, Sadhyo hridaya varudhyate atra kritibhi shushrushrubhis tatshanat. So there is a process by which we can have Krishna in our heart permanently. And this 25 days is a small effort on our side to get something which is the most valuable, which is the ultimate goal of life, which is the perfection of life. So that is the objective. And with that objective, let's start this journey. Are you all ready?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Mataji is tired. It's just the beginning, Mataji. Okay. So this presentation is dedicated to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. Srila Prabhupada ki. Before I proceed and say what exactly we are trying to do, one of the very interesting observation, and this is by the creator of this material world, before even the creation has begun. This is Lord Brahma offering some prayers to Garbhodaka Shai Vishnu before even the creation has begun. And he's talking about the prediction about the difficulties of this material world, which all of us are part of, which all of us undergo every day in our life. What is Brahma's prediction? Very interesting to know. So Brahma says, Kshutra-tridhatubhir imamuhur ardyamanaha Sitoshnavatavarshairitaretaratcha Kamagnina-च्युतरुषा cha sudurбharena Sampasyato manaurukramasidate me. So this is a prayer. This is in the third canto, 9th chapter, 8th verse of Bhagavatam. So his Brahma is talking about the living entities who have accepted different bodies in this material world, their conditions. Kshutrit tridhatubhir ima muhur ardyamanaha. Kshut is hunger. So we are harassed by so many things which is listing here. Kshut is hunger. Trit is trishna or thirst. Kshut tridhatubhir. Tridhatubhir is this kaphavata pitta, where there are always some problems, imbalances, and the body has got this issue, that issue. Sometimes this is not working well. Sometimes something else is showing up. Kshut tridhatubhir ima muhur ardyamanaha. Ima muhur is constantly, every day, continuously. Kshut tridhatubhir ima muhur ardyamanaha. Ardyamanaha is miserable conditions, perplexing conditions. So because of Kshut tridhatubhir ima muhur ardyamanaha, one is subjected to so many miseries, so many perplexing situations. And if that is not enough, then he's saying even the living entities are subjected to miseries because of other living entities and natural calamities. Sitoshna vata varshair. Sita is cold, Ushna is hot, heat. I got a forward today in another group where it is saying if there is too much of heat, what happens and what are the precautions you should take. Sita, Ushna, Vata is wind. Varshair is rain. Sitoshna Vata Varshair Itarachcha. Itare tarachcha. Itare itarachcha means there are so many, etc., so many uncountable miseries. Kshutrit tridhatubhir ima muhurardyamanaha sitoshna vata varshair itare tarachcha. Then Kamagninachuta Rushacha Sudur Bharena. Kamagni, there is this lust, the fire of lust which is burning, which is unsatisfied. That's why this is called a fire, Kamagni. Unsatisfied desire to enjoy. And then Achyuta Rusha, which is indefeatable, which is infallible. Rusha is anger. When the desire is not fulfilled, when there are unlimited, unending, unsatiated desires, it leads to anger. Kamagnina Chuta Rusha. So Kamagnina Chuta Rusha cha Sudur Bharena, and the living entity is perplexed. Sampashyato mana urukrama siddhate me. Sampashyato, having got the ability to see this, Brahma is saying, Sampashyato, since I am able to see this, mana, my mind, urukrama siddhate me. Oh Lord, is very disappointed, I'm very concerned. I'm actually seeing this helpless conditions of this material world. I'm very, very concerned. So this is what is not some prediction of somebody who is unknown, whose words we may not believe. Not like that. These are words spoken by the Creator himself before even he could begin the creation of the conditions of the living entities in this material world. Kshutrat tridhatubhir ima muhurardyamanaha. Sitoshna vata varshair itare tarachya. Kamagninachuta rusha cha sudur bharena sampashyato mano urukrama siddhate. So if you see the wonderful translation of this verse, it says, "O great actor, my lord, all these poor creatures are constantly perplexed by hunger, thirst, severe cold, secretion and bile, attacked by coughing winter, blasting summer, rains, and many other disturbing elements, and overwhelmed by strong sex urges and indefatigable anger. I take pity on them, and I am very much aggrieved for them. Siddhate, I'm very much aggrieved for them. I'm very despondent for them." The reason for this despondency of Brahma, the reason for this aggrievement of his is because people in this material world are forgetful of their constitutional position, are forgetful of the benefit of devotional service, and they're busy, they're mad, they're engaged, engrossed in so many other materialistic activities. And that is why they're constantly subjected to this. These are not some one person who's subjected to this kind of miseries. No, all of us who have accepted this material bodies, in this material world, we have to go through this. Kshutrit tridhatubhir rima muhurardyamanaha. Sitoshna vata varshair itare tarachya. Kamagninachuta rusha cha sudur bharena. Sampasyato mano urukrama siddhate me. Brahma further says that these people, he describes, he further classifies of all these people who have taken birth in this material world, there is a section of people who won't get entry to Vaikuntha planet. And it is interesting to know if we fall in that category or not. So he's telling, Yanna brajanti agavido rachananuvādat shrinvanti ye anya vishaya kukatha matigni yastu shruta hatabhager nirvir atasaras tam stan kshipanti asaraneshu tamasu hanta. Very beautiful verse. If you see the first line, Yanna brajanti agavido rachananuvada. Yanna brajanti agavido. So brajanti, they will not get entry to Vaikuntha Loka. Yanna brajanti, who agavido rachananuvādat, who are not interested in hearing Krishna Katha, who are not aware of the potency of hearing Krishna's wonderful pastimes. Yanna brajanti agavido. Agho means they are sinful. They are sinful activities. They don't know that hearing Krishna Katha is destroyer of all sins. Yanna brajanti agavido rachananuvādat. The narrations of the Lord are so nectarian. It is satisfying not just to heart and our ears, but it also destroys all the reactions of the sinful actions. But people, since they don't know, Yanna brajanti, they don't get an entry to Vaikuntha Loka, agavido rachananuvādat. What do they do? If they are not interested in hearing, or they don't know the potency of hearing Krishna Katha, what are they hearing? Shrinvanti ye anya vishaya kukatha matigni. Shrinvanti ye anya vishaya. There are so many materialistic topics of enjoying sense gratification, of indulging, and they are all busy. Shrinvanti ye anya vishaya kukatha. These are called kukatha. Kukatha is bad words. It's translated as bad words, but these are all words, or these are all katha, which is related to enjoying this material world. Shrinvanti ye anya vishaya kukatha matigni. If somebody constantly hears this materialistic topics, the topics of enjoying this material world, gratifying the senses, matigni, then the intelligence becomes, it is actually saying gni means, it is killing. The intelligence becomes polluted, intelligence becomes destroyed. He doesn't get the right intelligence. Shrinvanti ye anya vishaya kukatha matigni yastu shruta hatabhager nirvher atasaras. Yastu shruta, and after constantly, repeatedly hearing all this anya vishaya, what happens? Yastu shruta hatabhager. All the opulences are lost. All the good fortune is lost. Hatabhager. All the good fortune that could have been possible on a living entity, he could have got, that is lost. Yastu shruta hatabhager nirvhir atasaras. Atasaras means the real essence of human form of life is to get out of the cycle of birth and death. It's not meant for any kind of sane business. It is not meant for sanity. It is not meant for gentlemen. Yastu shruta hatabhager nirvhir atasaras. Saras is the cream. The value of life is lost. They don't understand the value of life. And all the opulences, good fortune is lost. That is not just enough. Again, in the last line, he's saying, Tam stan kshipanti asaraneshu tamassu hanta. Tam stan kshipanti. They are thrown. Thrown where? Kshipanti asaraneshu. Because of, they don't have shelter. They don't take shelter of the Lord. They're all busy in all these materialistic topics. Tamassu hanta. They are thrown into the darkest region of ignorance. Tam stan kshipanti asaraneshu tamassu hanta. So yanna brajanti agavido rachananuvādat shrinvanti ye anya vishaya kukatha matagni. Those people who do not have an affinity to hear Krishna Katha, it's not a force. It's not a very difficult thing to do that. Just because they don't know, they're ignorant, they've not developed a taste, they've not relished so far. What is happening to them? Yanna brajanti agavido rachananuvādat. They get taste for hearing Shrinvanti ye anya vishaya kukatha matigni. They get a taste to hearing so many different materialistic topics. And what happens because of that? These are all called kukatha. And when we hear some kukatha, matigni, then the intelligence gets lost, polluted. It gets killed. The right intelligence to discriminate gets lost. And because of that, what happens? Yastu shruta hatabhager. One becomes bereft of all opulence, all good fortune, hata bhager, nirbhir ata saras, and he misses the value of life. What is the golden value of this life is missed and lost. Nirbhir ata saras, tam stan kshipanti asaraneshu tamassu hanta. If that is not enough, he's thrown into tamassu hanta, the darkest region of hellish planets, because of all these sinful activities. Such a devastating effect of hearing all other things and not hearing Krishna Katha. So this 25 days that we have come together, the time that we are kind of agreeing to spend, let it be the most valuable time of our life. Let our hearing becomes purified by hearing this wonderful nectarian pastimes of the Lord, which prepares our consciousness, purifies our intelligence, and makes us ready to welcome Krishna in our life. One question which may come here is, why does Krishna appear? What is the significance of Janmashtami? Can you give some answers based on the study of Bhagavad Gita? You have exactly 1 minute. You have to be really quick. Unmute. If you know, you can go for it.
Just to glorify Krishna.
Krishna appears to glorify Krishna.
यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य ग्लानिर्भवति भारत व्युत्थानम् अधर्मस्य तदात्मानं सृजाम्यहम् परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे.
All right.
So this is the purpose of appearance of Krishna.
Yes, based on Bhagavad Gita, if all of us, we probably will be knowing these two verses which Jitendra Prabhu chanted. This is from 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which Krishna says, why does he appear in this material world? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Paritranaya sadhunam, to deliver the devotees, vinashaya cha duskritam, to annihilate the miscreants, dharma sansthapanarthaya, to re-establish the religious principles, sambhavami yuge yuge, I appear millennium after millennium. But actually, a great devotee of Lord by name Kunti Maharani, when she offers her prayers, she is wondering what could be the reasons for Krishna's appearance. And she also mentions about this particular reason, but then she says this may not be the reason. For protecting the devotees and annihilating the miscreants, the Lord personally need not appear. Even to establish the religious principles, he need not come. His pure devotees can come, his other representatives can come, and just to kill a demon or a miscreant, the Lord has to come? Not necessary. If he just comes out of his heart as Paramatma, that's all, the person is finished. He need not come. Then this brings a very important concept. What Kunti Maharani says is the reason for the Lord's appearance. And very interesting verse. We have had earlier the prayers of Queen Kunti. And I want to highlight this particular verse which Kunti Maharani offers in her prayers to set the context for this 25 days journey to Janmashtami. So these are some of the answers which we know from Bhagavad Gita, to establish the religious principle, to protect the devotees, to annihilate the miscreants. But there is a very wonderful reason which is cited by Kunti Maharani after having given so many different reasons based on, not randomly, very, very scientific, based on the scriptural evidences. She has given some reasons, but she concludes that the Lord appears. You appeared for the sake of rejuvenating the devotional service. You appeared for the sake of rejuvenating the devotional service. It's a very wonderful concept, why the Lord appears. And she prays in this heartful prayer in her prayers in Bhagavatam, Bhavesmin klishya mananam avidya kama karma bhihi shravana smarana arhani karishyamiti kechana. Bhaveshmin klishya mananam. Bhave refers to this material world where all of us have accepted these bodies, where we are subjected to death, old age, and disease. Bhave, to become old, to become diseased, to become dead. This material world, that's why it's called samsara. Or, a person who has taken birth is called samsari. Because, this process, the samsara means it's a cycle. And a cycle of what? Cycle of birth and death. Bhavesmin klishyamananam. Klishyamananam, there are calamities. There are not just difficulties, not just miseries, not just problems, Not just, some simple these things. Klishyamananam. There are calamities which we encounter just because we have taken birth here. This bhave asmin, in this material world, is klishyamananam. It's full of miseries and turbulences and calamities. What is the reason for that? Avidya kama karma bhihi. Avidya, the reason for our suffering, the reason for our, experiencing this misery is avidya, ignorance. Ignorance of who we are. What is our position with respect to the Lord? Not knowing that, we go through all these problems and difficulties. What is the cause of avidya? Kama. Kama is the cause for avidya. Avidya leads to kama. Because of ignorance, one develops a desire to enjoy this material world. He doesn't know what exactly needs to be done. So because of that ignorance, he has got this desire to enjoy this material world independent of Krishna. Avidya, kama, karma bhi, and that kama leads to karma, all kinds of fruitive activities. Bhaveshmin klishyamananam avidya kama karma bhi. And the Lord comes, Shravana smarana arhani karisyaniti kechana. He comes so that we hear about his wonderful pastimes, we remember him, and we do worship, or we do some kind of devotional service, and by that we purify and come back to our natural position, understand his position, and get out of this material world. That's the reason the Lord appears. And very beautifully Kunti Maharani says, this is the translation of that. Yet others say that you appeared for the sake of rejuvenating the devotional service of hearing, remembering, and worshipping, and so on, in order that the conditioned souls suffering from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. Yet others say that you appeared for the sake of rejuvenating the devotional service, because his pastimes are so wonderful, so sweet, when Krishna appears personally in this material world. And then so that one can rejuvenate the devotional service of hearing, remembering, and worshipping, and so on, in order that the conditioned souls suffer from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. Shravana smarana arhani karisyaniti kechana. So the journey to Janmashtami, we are actually dividing it into these three categories. The first one is My Sweet Lord, where we are going to hear the wonderful nectarian pastimes of the Lord and his devotees, Shravana. Then Stavamala, wonderful glorification of the Lord by his pure devotees, Smarana. So we are going to hear and remember some verses which are in glorification of the Lord. We try to memorize so many material things, so many material knowledge. It is worth memorizing few verses which are offered by the great devotees of the Lord. In glorification of the Lord, these devotees have offered their heartfelt prayers. We will hear and try to memorize them. So Shravana Smarana, and then Arhana Karisyaniti Kechana, devotional activities, engaging in practical devotional service. So this session we will be dividing into these three categories. Today I am giving you the context, so I may exceed a little bit of time, but then otherwise it is going to be these three things. Let's start with the first one. It's called the My Sweet Lord. And today's topic is very, very interesting, very powerful. It is such a wonderful topic for those people who do not have faith, who do not have knowledge, who do not know that, how the Lord reciprocates. Even if I am a small boy, even if I'm not qualified, even if I have got no knowledge of Agama Sastra or Pancharatriki Vidhi, I may not be even knowing what needs to be done. But if I have just simple faith in the words of the scriptures, if I have simple faith in the words of the spiritual master, and I execute devotional service, the Lord reciprocates. To see that, to understand this wonderful pastimes. So this is another verse from Bhagavatam, because so far I have spoken about what happens, Brahma's predictions of people in this material world, how they are going to go through this kind of difficulties and miseries, and what happens when they hear to other topics other than Krishna, then how they are, their mati becomes mati gni, ku katha, and then they are thrown into the darkest region of hellish planets. But here it is mentioned what happens if you actually hear Krishna Katha. What happens? What is the result of that? This verse says, Iti nandadayo gopaha Krishna Rama katham muda kurbanto ramamanascha na vindam bhava vedana. Iti nandadayo gopaha. So this is referring to Nanda Adi Gopaha, the Gopas or the cowherd men in the Braja or in Vrindavan, including Nanda Maharaj. Iti Nanda Adayo Gopaha, the cowherd men or the Brajavasis of Vrindavan, including Nanda. Iti Nanda Adayo Gopaha, Krishna Rama Katha Muda. Muda is, they used to take incessant, excessive pleasure. They were so elated, delighted to hear the wonderful nectarian pastimes of Krishna and Rama. Rama refers to Balaram. Krishna Rama Katham Muda. Iti Nandadayo Gopaha, Krishna Rama Katham Muda. Kurbanto Ramamanascha. And by hearing that, their whole existence used to be, blissful. Kurbanto Ramamanascha. Na Vendam Bhavavedana. Even though there were so many calamities, so many demons who were attacking Vrindavan one after another, and all this cowherd men and all this Gopas, the Brajavasis, they were disturbed, but they were yet unaffected because they were taking great pleasure in hearing the wonderful pastimes of Krishna Rama Katha Muda. This is a translation by Srila Prabhupada, very wonderful translation. Prabhupada says, in this way, all the cowherd men headed by Nanda Maharaj enjoyed topics about the pastimes of Krishna. The word muda is a very powerful word, great transcendental pleasure. Enjoyed the topics of the pastimes of Krishna and Balaram with great transcendental pleasure, and they could not even perceive material tribulations. And Prabhupada in the purport explains, if anybody in this material world wants to remain unaffected by this material miseries will not, it is not that it will stop coming to us. It'll, because we have become devotees, they'll stop manifesting. No, they will come. There'll be constant difficulties, turbulences, disturbances. If one has hold up, one has got this desire, one has sufficiently fixed up in hearing this wonderful nectarian pastimes, he'll remain unaffected. Iti Nanda Dayo Gopaha Krishna Rama Katha Muda Kurbanto Ramamanascha Navindam Bhavavedana. So, with respect to that, today's verse that we are going to speak is a very, very interesting verse. I just want to take 1 second break. I just want to get into the mood of this. So, okay. Now, this pastime of the Lord happened in a place called Brahmagiri. And this place, Brahmagiri, is actually a place in Orissa, very close to Jagannath Puri. So this Brahmagiri, the name Brahmagiri has come because Lord Brahma, once upon a time, used to worship or carved a deity of the Lord to worship Vishnu in this place. That's how it has got the name Brahmagiri. So in this Brahmagiri, this particular pastime happened, and this pastime is called, the name of the deity is called Alwarnath, or in Oriya language they say it is Alarnath. So Alwarnath, because there used to be this exalted devotees of the Lord from Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya who used to visit this temple and do this worship over there. That's why the name of the deity is called Alwarnath. But over a period of time, it has become Alarnath. So this, it's a very beautiful deity. Those of you who have not seen, who have never been, it is very close to Jagannath Puri, worth visiting there. So it is mentioned that even Ramanujacharya had come and stayed in this place to worship this beautiful four-handed form of the deity. This deity has got 4 hands, and it's a Vishnu form, Sankha Chakra Gada Padma. And Brahma personally had carved this deity to worship. And The interesting thing about this place, pastimes that we are going to discuss in 5 days, real pastimes. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu. There was a short break, but it's audible now.
Sorry about that. So there was this wonderful pastime happened in Jagannath Puri, and Jagannath Puri, the predominant rasa there is Bipralamba. You see, the form of Jagannath, we had discussed this earlier when we were talking about Rath Yatra. How did this manifest? When Lord Jagannath heard those wonderful, I mean, Krishna and Balaram and Subhadra, when they heard those wonderful nectarian pastimes of their own childhood, narrated by Mother Rukmini, there were some transformation in their bodily parts. The eyes became bulged, it elated. The hands, it shrunk. The feet, it shrunk, and that's how we got this wonderful form of the Lord in the form of Jagannath, Baldev, and Subhadra. So that is actually in separation of those pastimes of Krishna from Radharani that this form manifested. So separation from the love of Radharani manifested in the form of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, and separation of Krishna, separation of Radharani, both. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually manifested in this material world. He came in this material world in the form of to relish the Bipralamba rasa of a devotee that he experiences when he's engaged in devotional service. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is present in Jagannath Puri, and he used to have everyday darshan of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, except for the time when there is this Snana Yatra happens and the Lord goes for 2 weeks of Anasaravara, where there is no darshan available and the Lord is sick. At that time, the eagerness of the Lord, the eagerness of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to see the form of the Lord intensifies. It increases many times. So it is mentioned in that great anxiety, in that great eagerness, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu goes to this place in Brahmagiri to have this beautiful darshan of Alarnath or Alvarnath. And in his great ecstasy of performing kirtan, and in that mood, he falls down over there. And when he fell down on the floor, actually those stones had, it melted because of different bodily parts of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it is still present there. One can go and see that. The stones don't melt just like that. The mention of stone melting is there in Bhagavatam when the Lord plays his wonderful flute in Krishna's pastime. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of his great ecstasy, when he is in a completely different world, he is fully absorbed in Krishna, man mana bhavo mad bhakto, and he's performing this sankirtan and he falls down, pays obeisances. When the different bodily parts of his, when it touches those stone, some of the stones have melted and it is still kept there. So this deity of the Lord, the Lord, when he appears, he can appear in various different forms. He takes different avatars. So the Lord, when he appears in the form of deity, is called Archavatara. There is Yuga Avatara, there is Purusha Avatara, there is Leela Avatara, there is Saktya Vesha Avatara. There are so many different incarnations. So the Lord, when he appeared in the form of this beautiful deity as Archavatara in Brahmagiri, earlier days, there used to be some this South Indian priests who used to worship. So there was a priest by name Sriketana, not Srini, Sriketana. So this Sriketana priest used to worship this beautiful form of the Lord. And one day he had to go for some urgent work out of Brahmagiri. It was an unavoidable work and he had to go out of Brahmagiri. So he requests his son, who was very young, very small, a baby, a child. He requests him that, why don't you do the worship in my absence? So he said, I'm very small. I don't know how to worship. I have no idea. He said, don't worry. It is not too difficult. It is very simple. What you have to do is your mom will cook some sweet rice, and that naivedya or that bhoga you have to take and keep it in front of the Lord and offer it to him. Keep it for some time, and once the Lord accepts that, you go and remove that and bring it back and give it to your mom. So having heard like this from his father, even though he was not aware how to offer, what to offer, he thought it is a simple thing and he will be able to do that. So as it so happened, Sri Ketan actually left for his work out of Brahmagiri, and this small young boy goes to his mother and asks for Naivedya. His name was Madhu. So his mother called, and he was playing with his other friends, and then when he was called for this offering, he goes and offers to the Lord. So he keeps it in front of the Lord and says that I'm actually playing, O Lord. My father is not present and I've been asked to offer this bhoga to you. I will do that. And I'm doing that. I'm going because if I don't go now, my friends will get angry because I'm in the middle of the sports of the game that I'm playing, and I'll go back, but I'll again come back and take this offering once you are done. So he keeps the plate along with that bowl of sweet rice and goes and engages in his sports, in his play that he was doing. And after some time, he comes back and he sees that the bowl of sweet rice was untouched. It was there as it is. Little did the small boy know that the Lord doesn't eat the way we eat. The Lord can eat just by his glance. That's why we sing this song, Angani yasya sakalendriya brittimanti. Angani yasya sakalendriya brittimanti. Sakalendriya brittimanti. Actually, Krishna can perform any activities through any of his senses. By his eyes, he can eat. By his tongue, he can see. That is not possible for any one of us. For seeing, we use our eyes. For eating, we are using our tongue. But Krishna can eat through his eyes and can see through his tongue. Angani yasya sakalendriya brittimanti. Sakalendriya brittimanti. His every limb, his every senses can perform the activities of all other senses. Angani yasya sakalendriya brittimanti. So the Lord has glanced and he has taken his prasadam. He has taken his bhoga. But for the young boy, Madhu, it was very difficult to perceive. He goes and he says, he fervently prays to the Lord, "Oh Lord, please accept this offering. I know my father is not present. He might be chanting some different mantras which I am not knowing. But I have been asked, and you please accept this bhoga that has been made by my mother." So when the Lord is there, but he's seeing. And then when there is nothing happening, then Madhu becomes more anxious and he says, and he starts crying. He starts weeping and saying that, "Oh Lord, if you don't accept this, where will I go? What will happen to me?" And finally he says, "If you don't accept, then I'll commit suicide. I mean, there is no other way that, I can go back without, you honoring this food." So when he says like that with severe intensity and with that determination, with that feeling, the Lord personally came out of the deity form. And he took that bowl of rice and he started, eating that sweet rice, started licking it in his mouth. And then the Lord finished the whole bowl of sweet rice, and that empty bowl of sweet rice he carried and went back home and gave it to his mother. The mother asked, "Where is the sweet rice?" So he said, "What do you mean by where is the sweet rice? The Lord ate it." So the mother said, "Lord ate it? You are lying. You are a liar, actually. You would have eaten it along with all your friends, and you are telling that the Lord has eaten it." So they never have heard of something like this. The Lord has eaten it. And this process continued for the next day. When he kept the Naivedya, he again prayed to the Lord with all his faith, feelings, and his conviction, "Oh Lord, please accept this offering." And the Lord obliged and took that bowl of rice and ate it. On the third day, when Sri Ketana came back to Brahmagiri and he heard about this from his wife, he was also shocked, surprised. And they said that, they decided that they should, teach him a lesson because he's lying and this kind of thing is not acceptable. So what he did was, he said, "Let me go with you and see how the Lord is eating. I also want to see this phenomenon. So the Sri Ketan, he goes and he hides himself behind a pillar, and he's there, and this young boy, Madhu, as usual, he goes before the Lord and prays to the Lord, "Oh Lord, please appear and accept my offering." And the Lord appeared and started taking the offering, started eating that. And when he was about to take that bowl of rice, that sweet rice, when he was about to put it in his mouth, the Sri Ketan came out of the hiding place, he was hiding himself behind the pillar, he came out and he held the hand of the Lord. So when he held the hand of the Lord, whatever the sweet rice was there in his hand, it fell. Something lied in his lips, the lips got burnt. Something fell from his hand, so the hand got burnt. Something fell in his thighs, and the thighs got burnt. And then the Lord went back to the deity, seeing Sri Ketan. He stood there. So Sri Ketan was shocked. And, they all came back. And if you go now also to that place, the pujari, the priest over there, he removes the garland and he shows the burnt mark of the Lord on his lips, on his fingers, and various parts of his bodies. What is the lesson from this? Okay, we heard this, interesting. The lesson is, as we were discussing some days back, asnami prayatatmanaha, Krishna says, patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. When somebody with that faith, with that feeling, with that love, with that devotion offers, the offering is such a powerful thing. Little thing that we offer to the Lord becomes obliged, becomes purchased. So that faith, that feeling is the most important thing. If we don't have that, if that boy's father apparently didn't have that faith or the feeling. The faith comes by hearing from the scriptures, by hearing from the bona fide spiritual master. The words, when we hear from a pure devotee, it develops the faith inside us. And that faith leads to that feelings and love. And that love Krishna sees. He's not seeing what we are offering. He's hungry for that love, that devotion. There is a very nice pastime which happened when during Mahabharata, when Lord Krishna appeared in Hastinapur. When he was invited, he was representing the Pandavas as a messenger. When he appeared there, apparently Duryodhan had made some chappan bhog, right? Some 56 different varieties of items to welcome Krishna. But instead of going to his palace, Krishna goes to Vidura. And instead of eating bananas, he ate the banana peels given by his wife, but with devotion. He's not looking for what items we are offering, but how much of love, how much of devotion, how much of faith, how much of conviction, how much of feelings we have. That is what makes all the difference. So this is the wonderful nectarian pastime of this deity with a small boy who was apparently not even trained, not even has gone any kind of upanayana or any samskaras, yet he had faith in the words that Krishna will take when I'm offering with devotion, and the Lord manifested. What I'll do is I'll show you some beautiful pictures of that actual place so that you can see. This is the beautiful deity of Alvarnath or Alarnath. If you have never been there, I sincerely request, go and have the darshan of the Lord. Wonderful darshan. Especially there's a lot of people who visit this place on during this 2 weeks time of Jagannath not giving darshan. And this is that sweet rice, which is still available, very special prasadam, hot kheer, or sweet rice prasadam of Alarnath. And this is the place where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's bodily impressions are still there, which melted the rock. It's still there. And there is a Gaudiya Mutt there right next to this temple, established by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, understanding the importance of this place. And that's one of the mattas which is still there, trying to spread this holy name. So that brings to the end of the first episode of My Sweet Lord in this journey to Krishna. We will see another very, very wonderful loving reciprocation of the Lord tomorrow. We'll move to the next activity, which is called the Stavamala, or the slokas offered by pure devotees, and try to memorize this. And we will see one sloka which many of us might be knowing, and let's see how this goes. So this is a verse which is there in Bhagavatam, and this is a prayer offered by Kunti Maharani. I want all of you to chant this verse along with me on mute, because otherwise it will create disturbance. And then we will see. So when we see this verse and we'll break it down, we'll understand each of the words in this verse, try to see their meanings, and then again come back to this verse to memorize this. It's a very nice verse. And as I said, we can memorize so many things, but sometimes we have never tried. Let this Janmashtami be a reason for us to memorize some wonderful verses in glorification of the Lord, which are available in Srimad Bhagavatam and other Vedic literatures. So this prayer is Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Nama. We'll do one more time. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. We will come back to this again, and before we do that, let's understand what this verse is, and then we can. So we'll know more. The more we know about the verse, the more it'll be easier for us to memorize. So the word-to-word meaning is Krishnaya, the Supreme Lord, Vasudevaya, unto the son of Vasudev. So it is referring to the Supreme Lord with a particular name, Krishna, who's all attractive. Krishnaya, that is what Kunti Maharani says. That's how she addresses Krishnaya, the Supreme Lord Krishna. Vasudevaya, Vasudeva, the name of the Lord is also Vasudev because he is the son of Vasudev. Actually, the Lord feels more happy and satisfied and more joyful when somebody addresses him in connection with his devotees. Vasudev is father of Krishna. So when Vasudev is addressed, he feels very happy. Vasudevaya, Devaki Nandanaya, again, unto the son of Devaki. Devaki Nandanaya. Nandana means son, and Devaki, son of Devaki. Cha, and Nanda Gopa Kumaraya. So Nanda Gopa refers to Nanda and the cowherd men. Kumaraya, unto their son. So she's offering her obeisances to Krishna, Krishnaya, the Supreme Lord. Who is that Krishna? Vasudevaya, he's son of Vasudev. What else he is? Devaki Nandanaya cha. He's also the son of Devaki. We know that Devaki and Vasudev. So Vasudevaya, Devaki Nandanaya cha. Then Nanda Gopa Kumaraya is also the son of Nanda, the head of the Gopas by name Nanda, Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Gopa Kumaraya. That's why another name of Krishna is Nanda Gopa Kumara. Nanda, the son of Nanda, who's the head of this cowherd man. Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya. Another name of the Lord is Govinda. Go means cows. Go also means senses. So unto the personality of Godhead who enlivens the cows and the senses. Govinda. So since he enlivens, he gives pleasure to cows and the senses, his name is Govinda. So we have how many names? Krishnaya, that Krishna is the son of Vasudeva. So Vasudevaya, Devaki Nandanaya is also the son of Devaki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya, Devaki Nandanaya cha, Nanda Gopa Kumaraya is also the son of Nanda Baba, Nanda Maharaj, who is the head of all these Gopas, cowherd men. Nanda Gopa Kumaraya, Govindaya. Govindaya is referring to another name of the Lord, means who is the enlivener of cows and the senses. Govinda. Govindaya Namo Namaha. I am paying my respectful obeisances again and again. The translation of this verse is, let me therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord who has become the son of Vasudeva, the pleasure of Devaki, the boy of Nanda and the other cowherd men of Vrindavan, and the enlivener of the cows and the senses. Very simple actually. Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisances. Namo Namaha, twice it is there. Nama Namah. Let me therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto the Lord who has become the son of, unto the Lord is Krishnaya, who has become the son of Vasudeva, Vasudevaya, the pleasure of Devaki, Devaki Nandanaya, the boy of Nanda and the other cowherd men, Nanda Gopa Kumaraya, and the enlivener of the cows and the senses, Govindaya. So that is the verse. The context of this verse is very nice. This is actually a situation where Lord Krishna is leaving for Dwarka. He has been there after the battle of Kurukshetra. The Mahabharata battle is over. He was there in Hastinapur along with the Pandavas. And after the battle is over, he was there for a long time. And then now he is about to leave. And then suddenly this Aswathama has fired a Brahmastra to kill the Pandavas. And Uttara has come and taken shelter of the Lord. Uttara is beautiful prayer actually. Pahi Pahi Mahabhago. She's coming. There are so many other people present there, but she runs to Krishna to protect her from this onslaught of Brahmastra. That's how the Lord enters into the of Uttara and protects Parikshit. Uttara seeks protection from Lord Krishna. And then after that, when all these things are over and he is about to leave, Queen Kunti comes and offers this wonderful prayers. Oh Lord, if you go, what will happen to us? All the good fortune that we were having was because of your presence. And then wonderful prayers. Actually, she glorifies. We've had some series of discussions on each of these verses. So that is the context. What is the mood of the prayer? The mood of the prayer is, seeing the Lord seated on the chariot, Kunti Devi felt an immense mood of separation overwhelming her heart. I was telling about that Vipralamba Bhava in Jagannath Puri. There is this one of the prayers of Shikshastakam which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has written. What is the first line of that? Yugaitam Nimeshana? What is the first line of that? This verse, first line. Yugaitam Nimetena Chakshusabha Prashayita Sunyaitam Jagad Sarvam Govinda Virahenam. So the Vipralamba Rasa is Yugaitam Nimishena. Even one Nimisha is appearing to be one Yuga. Yugaitam Nimish. This is the mood of the devotees. We don't feel even, days pass by, we don't remember the Lord, we don't feel any difference. But the pure devotees of the Lord feel the separation of the Lord, even if it is for 1 second, one Nimisha. Nimisha is blinking of the eyes. This is less than even a second. Yugaitam Nimeshena. So that blinking of the eyes itself appears to be Yuga. Yugaitam Nimeshena Chakshusa Pravashaitam. So basically, they're shedding tears. Chakshusa Prasaitam means there are tears coming out of these devotees that the Lord is not present. Sunyaitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Virahenam. If there is no Lord, this whole world is Sunya. Sunyaitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Virahenam. So seeing the Lord seated on the chariot, Kunti Devi felt an immense mood of separation overwhelming her heart. And then in the purport, actually very interestingly, Prabhupada talks that human prosperity depends on those two items, namely Brahmanical culture and cow protection. See, the prosperity depends on these two things only, Brahmanical culture and cow protection. Because his name is Govinda, Prabhupada is explaining the importance of Govinda in cow protection and Brahmanical culture. Lord Krishna is never satisfied where these are lacking. There is no parallel to his childhood pastimes as exhibited at Brajabhumi. And that is how this prayer is offered by Kunti Maharani. Very, very beautiful prayers. The advantage of knowing some of the prayers offered by this pure devotees is because when we are repeating them, we are automatically getting into that mood. Especially we know the meaning, the context, a little bit in those words, then that verse becomes ours. So what we will do is we will chant that verse again, now that we know the meaning. So I'll take one word, and you can repeat after me on mute. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Now we will do 2 lines at a time. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Now we will do the 4 lines, so you can repeat after me. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So I would request the participants to chant this verse and send us a video recording. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. It's a very, very beautiful verse. You can chant, see the meanings again, understand and reflect the meaning and the mood, and then this verse will become yours. We will go to the last section of today's discussion. That is the activities. Remember, we spoke about the 3 things which Kunti Maharani offers in her prayers. Bhavesmin klishya mananam avidya kama karma bhi shravanam smaranam arhani karishyaniti kechana. So we heard about a wonderful pastime of the Lord in the form of My Sweet Lord. We saw how to remember this verse, wonderful verse spoken by Kunti Maharani. And the last one is practical devotional activities. To understand the activity for today, or why should we do devotional activity, there is a very, very beautiful verse in Bhagavatam. The verse is Asesha Sanklesha Samam Vidhatte Gunanubada Shravanam Murare Kimba Punastat Charanaravinda Paraga Seva Ratiratma Labdha Asesha Sanklesha Samam Vidhatte. Asesha Sanklesha. Sanklesha, klesha is difficulties. Sanklesha is whatever that bigger form of difficulties or the miseries that comes to us. Ashesha is unlimited. Asesha Sanklesha Samam Vidhatte. Samam Vidhatte means they become mitigated, they become extinguished, they become eradicated. Samam, completely. Asesha Sanklesha Samam Vidhatte Guna Nuvada Shravanam Murare. Murare is another name of the Lord because he killed the demon Murare. So Murare is Gunanuvada. Guna is qualities. When we hear the wonderful activities and the qualities of the Lord, Gunanuvada Shravanam Murare, then Asesha Sanklesha Samam Vidhatte. That anyway we have heard. We've been hearing about the glories of hearing. What this verse says is Kimba punastad charanaravinda paraga seva ratiratma labdha. Kimba punastat charanaravinda. What to speak of someone who has developed an affinity to engage in devotional service to charanaravinda, to the lotus feet of the Lord. Kimba punastat charanaravinda paraga seva ratiratma labdha. What to speak of him who has got this desire to engage in practical devotional service. So engaging in practical devotional service in this verse, at least is given a higher this thing than just hearing. So the translation of this verse is, simply by chanting and hearing, asesha sanklesha samam vidhatte gunanuvada shravanam murare. Simply by chanting and hearing the transcendental name, form, etc. of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, one can achieve the cessation of unlimited miserable conditions. What to speak of those who have attained attraction for serving the flavor of the dust of the Lord's lotus feet? Paraga seva ratiratma labdha. What to speak of him? So today's activity is offering tulasi. So those of you who are attending this call or who are willing to attend this for the next 25 days, my request is plant a tulasi in your house if you don't have it. Just the effect of planting tulasi is so much. It is mentioned in the scriptures, the punya of doing that. And offer tulasi along with all your offerings that you are honoring every day. Just offer tulasi to make it prasadam. So this is a verse which comes in Bhagavatam. This is again spoken by Brahma, the glories of tulasi. So the verse is Mandara kunda kurabotpala champakarna punanganaga bakulambuja parijataha gandhe archita tulasi ka bharanena tasya yasmim stapah sumanaso bahumanayanti. There are some flowers which are mentioned here. There are 11 in numbers. Mandara, Kunda, Kuraba, Utpala, Champaka, Arna, Punanga, Naga, Bakula, Ambuja, Parijata. You count, there are 11 numbers. There are no English translations for them. They are fragrant, colorful, uniquely fragrant, uniquely colorful, available in the Vaikuntha Loka. This is Brahma talking to Brahma when he's offering his prayers. He's telling that what is the situation in Vaikuntha Loka. There are these wonderful flowers which are available in the Vaikuntha Loka, very fragrant, very colorful, very attractive. Mandara, Kunda, Kurava, Utpala, Champaka, Arna, Punaga, Naga, Bakula, Ambuja, Parijata. Gandhe Archite, Tulasi ka bharanena tasya. In front of that, what is the position of Tulasi? Doesn't have color, doesn't have that much of fragrance. It is like manjari. So one may think, what is the comparison between Tulasi? No, but these flowers know the position of Tulasi. Yasmim stapah sumanaso bahumanayanti. Even though they are all present, they know the spiritual value of Tulasi. So when Tulasi is there, they become subservient. Actually, it says, although flowering plants like the Mandara, Kunda, Kurabaka, Utpala, Champaka, Arna, Punaga, Nagakeshara, Bakula, Lily and Parijata are full of transcendental fragrance, they are still conscious of the austerities performed by Tulasi. For Tulasi is given special preference by the Lord, who garlands himself with Tulasi leaves. For Tulasi is given special preference by the Lord, who garlands himself with Tulasi leaves. We will see tomorrow the importance of offering Tulasi or even offering flowers to the Lord with love and devotion. What I want is, we hear a lot of things. We hear Gita Yagya, we hear nectar of instruction, but we need to know, or we need to do also some practical devotional service. It is very simple. In front of your photo of your deity, if you don't have even a photo, you can have like a Bhagavad Gita which has got a photo of Krishna, or a Krishna book which has got a photo of Krishna. In front of that picture of Krishna, keep the offering that you have made before honoring it to the Lord. Keep a tulasi. If you don't have a tulasi, plant a tulasi. If you are not able to do anything because of this COVID, at least offer it in your mind. But it is very important. Although flowering plants like the Mandara, Kunda, Kurabaka, Utpala, Champaka, all these flowers are full of transcendental fragrance, still conscious of the austerities performed by Tulasi. But Tulasi is given special preference by the Lord, who garlands himself with Tulasi leaves. Actually, Vaikuntha is free from enviousness. No envy. Before this verse, it is mentioned about the other trees which are present, other animals who are present, and they are all singing, but they are very conscious of the presence of others. And when the bumblebee comes, then the others, become silent so that they don't interfere in his singing. They are not envious. Oh, he's singing better than me. This flower is more fragrant. This tree is better than me. Those kind of feelings are not there. They're free from matsara, free from enviousness. So when they see this Tulasi coming or Tulasi's presence, all this, they know the spiritual position of Tulasi, and they give that respect and value to Tulasi. So these are some of the quotes by Srila Prabhupada on the importance of Tulasi and what is the position of Tulasi. I'm very glad to learn that Srimati Tulasi Devi has favored you so much. If you actually grow this Tulsi plant, and I'm sure you will do it, then you must know it for certain that your devotion for Krishna is testified. I was very much anxious to introduce this worship of Tulsi plant amongst our society members, but it has not become successful till now. Therefore, when I hear that you have got this opportunity, my pleasure doesn't have any bounds. Tulsi leaf is very, very dear to Vishnu. All Vishnu Tattva deities require profusely Tulasi leaves. Lord Vishnu likes garlands of Tulasi leaves. Tulasi leaves mixed with sandalwood pulp and placed on the lotus feet of the Lord is the topmost worship. But we must be very careful that Tulasi leaves cannot be placed on the feet of anyone else than Lord Vishnu and his different forms. Tulasi leaves cannot be placed even on the lotus feet of Radharani or on the lotus feet of spiritual master. It is entirely reserved for being placed on the lotus feet of Krishna. We can place, however, Tulasi leaves on the hands of Radharani for being placed on the lotus feet of Krishna, as you have seen on the Govinda album. Please take care of the Tulasi plants in the following way. This is the best season for growing Tulasi plants. From April 15th to 15th June is the best season for growing this plant. Now I understand these seedlings are coming out, so the whole spot, if possible, may be covered by some net, because the seedling stage creepers, being very delicate, are sometimes eaten up by the sparrows. So we have to give a little protection from the attack of the sparrows. All the devotees should pour water at least once in the morning before taking prasadam. The watering should not be very much large in quantity, but it should be poured just to keep the ground soft and moist. Sunlight also should be allowed. When the creepers are grown at least 7 inches high, then you can take them out from the planting soil and transplant them in a row in different place. Then go on watering and they will grow like anything. I think this plant cannot grow in cold countries, but if the plants are dispatched from your place and if the devotees take care of the plant with a little care in a flower pot, then it may grow. So actually the fragrance of Tulasi in the morning, Prabhupada mentions, can only be felt by the devotees. So that is why devotees, when they are chanting, it is usually recommended to have Tulsi plant and chant. So it's a good thing if you're able to do it as an activity during this 25 days journey. I'll stop here. We have finished the things that we were supposed to in this Shravanam, Smaranam, and Arhanam. We heard about the wonderful nectarian pastime of Brahmagiri, of the boy, and Alvarnath. We heard a beautiful verse from Kunti Maharani's prayers, and we also saw a devotional activity of offering Tulasi. So request everyone to chant this verse, to memorize this verse, and send us your video recordings. And also, if you are able to offer your preparations tomorrow with Tulsi leaves, or you planted a Tulsi, send us a snap. I'll stop here and we will meet again tomorrow. Usually we will not. It should be the outside the house, right? Yes, right. But in the morning we bring it close to the altar, and as Prabhupada is mentioning, you should offer water to Tulsi and circumambulate Tulsi. We chant this mantra: Yani kani cha papani, Brahma hatyadikani cha, tani tani pranashyanti, pradakshina pade pade. Very, very auspicious. Even if we have done some sinful activities, just by doing this, by watering Tulsi and circumambulating, one comes out of those grievous sins. So do this. We hear a lot of things, but practically doing has different benefits. Try it out if you're able to. If you're not able to, don't feel disappointed. As I said, you can offer it in your mind. You're too busy, or it is too difficult because of the current situations, doesn't matter. You can still offer it in your mind. So join us again tomorrow. We have very, very wonderful this pastimes, and this is a very well thought of series. Don't miss this opportunity. Share it with your near and dear ones. Let them also take advantage, and we will see you tomorrow again. Before we end, I would like all of you to kindly come in front of your camera, and we will chant lovingly this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Can you all come in front of your cameras? Right, great. Raise your hands. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Rama Rama Hare Hare.
जय जन्माष्टमी महामहोत्सव की, भगवान की, जगत गुरु शील प्रभुपाद की, साई गौर प्रेमानंद। Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Call tomorrow. Okay.